What's one thing that you wished you would have known when you first started tying flies?
Do I have to clip it on or anything? All right. What do I wish I had known?
That's a big
I think for me, the biggest revelation when I started to tie, I've been tying for a while, was that it takes a lot of practice to become good. And one thing that I didn't do that I wish I had done from day one is that I wish I had been a lot more critical of myself as I practice. Like, take a look, does that look right? And then as part of that practicing would be to tie a bunch of the same pattern, way more than I had, to get more consistent. So to summarize then, I guess I would say, be more critical to my work, look, try to improve, but then practice, practice, practice. I think those two things will make you a much better fly tyer in the long run.
So what do I wish I knew when I first started tying flies? Well, there's one that pops out that's really important, and this has helped me tie cleaner flies, and it's helped me teach fly tying a lot. And it's a real simple concept. It's make every single thread wrap count, okay? If you tie in a material with 2 wraps and that's all it needs, don't put 5 or 6 more wraps right there. You're just adding bulk. So limit your thread wraps, make sure that your thread is going exactly where you want it to do. And if it doesn't, figure out a way to make it do that. So don't do excessive thread wraps, make every single thread wrap count. That's it, Spence.
One thing I wish I would have known when I started tying is probably learning how to use the tools properly. For example, I used to cut wire with my scissors, the tip of my scissors instead of the back end. Then I couldn't figure out why my scissors wouldn't cut thread. So that's one thing I wish I would have learned right off the bat. That would have saved a lot of money and time. Other thing is like a bobbin. Like ceramic bobbins, I wish I would have known the difference between a non-ceramic and a ceramic. I would tie flies and the thread would break, and I thought it was the thread, so I'd go buy a new thread. Would happen over and over. It didn't know it was fraying on the end of the bobbin, and so I wish I would have known about the ceramic bobbin. So I think in general, just learning how to use your tools, whether it's whip finisher, hair stacker, a dubbing twister, just get online or ask somebody that has been tying for a while how to use those tools properly.
One thing that I wish I knew when I first started tying flies was that I could use other material to fill the recipes, the fly recipes. I was under the impression, probably like many individuals when they start tying flies, is that when you see a recipe and someone's tying a fly with it, that you need those exact materials and you can't use anything else, but you definitely can, and you should. Tying with other materials helps you as you learn to tie flies, and as you learn to work with different types of materials to make it look similar, to look fishy. Coming up with your own materials for fly patterns, because not all the products are going to be in stock as well. So coming up with those different alternates is what we call them here at Fly Fish Food, but coming up with alternate materials for fly patterns is another skill that you should definitely learn. And something I wish I learned when I was starting out tying flies.
Something I wish I would have known when I started tying flies was, that probably would have saved me some money, is just not to buy things incrementally. If you already fly fish, you're already dedicated to the sport, you know you want to get into fly tying, I could have saved myself a lot of money by buying a quality vise right out of the gates, buying nice quality scissors, not buying 6 different dubbing spinners, just buying one good one. You know, for me, I tended to be on a budget and be thinking I could get away with this $9 dubbing spinner instead of a higher end one. And then I buy the $9 one and realize why it's $9. It's terrible. Then I'd go to the $15 one and it's still terrible. Then I'd buy a $25 one and it works a little better, but not much. And eventually I end up with, the one that I actually wanted to begin with, and I could have cut out all those other purchases. So for me, I wish I would have just cut out the middleman on a bunch of those purchases and went straight for the best quality of tool or vise or whatever it is that I can get, rather than wasting money on stuff that now just collects dust.
One thing, probably getting materials in increments. So what that means is I get a lot of people reaching out on customer service saying, hey, I'm getting started. Get me a list of things I need to buy. You're gonna end up with a lot of stuff that you just don't use or sizes you don't use. So I would highly recommend starting off with a few different patterns, pick a few easy ones, chironomids, maybe a dry fly or something. Get the materials for those flies that you're actually gonna go fish as well. Get those materials, and then slowly and surely by doing that, you'll have enough materials to tie a bunch of different things, and that's a very effective thing for sure.